Hi, everyone. Good morning. Hi, Ravi.
Good morning, sir.
Morning. So let's talk about samplers today. Okay. So I'm adding a thread group. So we have different samplers here. And till this point, we discussed mostly about HTTP request, right? So you know all about HTTP request. So this is HTTP request where we give protocol here, host name here, whatever you are recording in web, HTTP requests will get generated based on whatever you are recording, right? And here you will see protocol and here host name. And if you need to give port number, you can give here, and here comes path, and you have different request types here. So mostly get and post will be there. Whatever you are getting from the server, like if you are clicking on some link or something, then get will be there. Or if you are submitting something, like if you are submitting a form, if you are creating an account, you will give all the account details, and finally you will click on submit button. So that request is post request, right? If you are doing fund transfer, you'll give from account to account, you will give some amount and all that, and after that you'll click on submit. That also comes under post request. So whatever you are filling some details and submitting anything, that comes under post request. If you are clicking on a link or any menu item or something, that comes under get, right? So, and follow redirects and redirect automatically, I discussed earlier. So by default, follow redirects will be selected. If follow redirects is selected, what will happen? So if you see, there will be some redirections, right? So in HTTP request, there will be page redirections for few web pages, right? What is redirection? You will get a code called 302. That means redirection, right? So 302 will get redirected to 200. 200 is the success response code, right? So even 302 is a success. 302 will get redirected to 200. So followed, if you select for follow redirects, what will happen? You might get 302 as a separate request, and you will get 200 as a separate. If you select this redirect automatically, you will directly see 200 response. Internally, this redirection will happen. It will not show as a separate subsampler. Okay. And if it is a post request, you need whatever body and all will be there. If you are clicking on login, user ID, username, password, and everything will be there inside this, right? So for example, I'll open our script. See, this is post, right? Because you are giving user ID and password. And other things like login, here just you are clicking on some links or just menu items and all that, right? Here you are launching the screen. Here you're just clicking on login button. You are not submitting anything. So that comes under get, right? So for example, sometimes you'll have upload scenarios. You might need to upload some, in some application, you might need to upload a form like like a PDF file or something. So for that you have an option in Jmeter called files upload. Okay. Here you can give path, like the path. If you save your file somewhere in your local in D drive, that particular path you need to go, and the parameter name, and this parameter name and path you need to go. So upload functionalities will also work. So if you need to upload anything to your web page, You can also do that if you have an option in the same HTTP request, right? And and you know about these request headers, right? As I said yesterday, sometimes your script might fail, though you did correlation and all that. You have included cache manager. If your script is still failing, the problem can be with your request headers. These are request headers, right? Because this is a request, and for every sampler there will be header, right? So these headers will be automatically recorded while you are recording your script, right? If your script is failing, then compare these request headers with the actual web page. How do you compare? By opening developer tools, right? By opening developer tools, you can compare this. Just open this and compare the headers. So yeah, so what I'm saying here is you need to compare the request headers from this developer tools. Okay, you need to take the request headers from this developer tools. And what are the missing request headers? You need to copy like this and you can paste it here. You can add it here. Okay, you can add anytime any number of rows here. Okay, like this, right? Authority is the name and the value is this host name. Like that, you can add any number of headers. So the missing headers also you can add if the request is failing. Okay. So so this is about like the HTTP requests, and we have many other requests also here. Like for example, I'll add one more.
So one basic question, sir.
Yeah.
So when we are adding HTTP request in the body data, if for some reason we are doing some web services testing,
correct.
If we have to parameterize something, is it the same like
exactly same?
Dollar?
It is the same. It is the same. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. So what Ravi is asking is whenever there are web service calls. So web service calls testing and all, I'll tell you in a separate class how to do. But for web service calls, you will get endpoints and you will get, if for post request, you will get body, right? You will get body. The developers will give you body. So for that, how you need to test? You need to select post and you need to give HTTPS and this server name and path. And for body, they'll give you body separate in some XML format. That body straight away, you can paste it here in the body. Okay. There, if you need to parameterize something, you can parameterize. And how do you parameterize? How do you do the parameterization? By giving the same $ curly braces variable name and close the curly braces. So that remains the same. Okay. And those parameters you need to declare again in CSV dataset call. Okay. That remains the same. Fine. Okay. So this something related to Bean Shell JSR 223 sampler, I will explain you when I am covering the topic of Bean Shell. Bean Shell is a different topic. I'll cover you at that topic at the end, right? Let me talk about FTP request and JDBC request. Okay. So we have two other requests, like FTP is one request and sorry, file transfer protocol. Correct, file transfer protocol. And we have another important request, which is JDBC request. So these are the two requests. Let me explain you FTP first. So FTP is all about file transfer protocol. It is a different protocol. Okay. There are FTP servers also, like web application servers. In some cases, there will be FTP servers where this file exchanges will happen. File upload. That server will be used only for file uploads and file downloads. Okay. So if you want to conduct a load test or performance test for FTP server, then you have to enable which request? FTP request, right? And let me explain you how to do this FTP request load test. So I'm downloading one FTP client. Okay, let me download this first. Okay, let me install this. Okay. So for FTP request, what is needed is your FTP server name or IP address, right? FTP has a server. So you need to connect from your local machine to FTP server so that you can exchange the files. You can download or upload the files, right? For that, you need FTP server name. Okay. And to upload or download the server, what else you need? You need the if you are uploading any file from the local to the server, you need the local file path. Okay. And also the remote file path where you are uploading. The same for download also. The local file path and remote file path. So the local file path and remote file path is what you need to give here. And you have different types of options here. Get is for download, right? Put is for upload, right? And here is where you need to connect to your FTP server with user ID and password, right? So have installed the FTP client. So this is our FTP client, right? So how do you connect to this FTP client? We need to connect through these details. These are the details. So you just need to give the host name here. And what is the username? DLP user, give it here. And what is the password? This one. The same way in your projects, they'll share you the host name, username, and password. So that this way you need to connect. So connection has been established. So now you can see this is the left side is our local drive and the right side is our remote FTP server, right? So how do you upload things now? So I went to input file under remote. Input is one folder. I went to that folder, and what you are seeing under input, this particular zip file, archive_csv.zip file. So for example, I want to download the zip file to my local. Where I want to download? To my local, like under downloads, for example, or documents. Yeah, under document, I want to download. How do you download that? You just need to drag and drop here. I want to download this under downloads. So it is trying to download now. So it started downloading, see these messages and successfully downloaded, right? Let us see. Yes, it is downloaded successfully, right? What is the time? 9:11. So it got downloaded. So you need to, you will do these kind of activities from your FTP server, right? You'll do downloads and uploads. And how do you upload it? For example, I will take some other document from documents here. For example, I want to upload this today demo.txt or something. So you just again need to drag and drop here, right? So it uploaded successfully. So this is how you have to upload and download, and you need to replicate this scenario again in Jmeter. Okay, there can be requirements from your clients too. So this, if you have FTP server, these downloads and uploads will happen in real time, right? So if your client want to check the performance of the downloads and uploads and performance of your FTP server, so you can check that by replicating the same scenario in Jmeter.
This all uploads is a pretty server upload.
Yes, FTP server upload.
Sir, which FTP, this FTP server is, the remote server is,
yeah.
Is it like our quality thoughts or who's?
No, this is not quality thoughts. I just took it from internet. It's a sample FTP server. This is just an FTP client, and they are maintaining some database in the internet itself. So that is the FTP server. So if we are uploading it, it directly sits under that FTP server, which is hosted in somewhere in internet. Okay, this is a sample application.
Thanks.
You can also test it.
Yeah.
All the things you can see it in my document, how to download these things, how to do testing.
Right.
Okay. So these are the activities which you do in FTP, right? Downloads and uploads. How do you replicate that in Jmeter is what I'm telling you now. So what you need to do, the first step is to enable FTP request first, and straight away you need to give the host name, right? What is your host name? This one. And and what else you need to give? Login, username and password. What is your username? DLP user. And what is your password? This is your password. Okay. And now, which scenario are you doing now? Upload or download? Anything you can do. First of all, we'll do download. Okay. So we are downloading. What you need to select for download? Get. You are getting something from the server. If you are uploading, you're putting something into the server. So that is put. So get is what you need to select. And what you need to download, which file. So this particular file I want to download, for example. So this has been deleted from my local already. So let us try to download it again. And what is the path? What is the remote path here? Under input, you have this file, right? So I have copied that path. So this is the remote path. Under input, you have this file. This is my zip file. Right? And you need to download it to your local, right? So the local path also you need to give. So which path? Under, for example, I want to download it under documents. Copy that, paste it here, and you have to mention the file name also here. Okay. So you are downloading archive_csv.zip. You are downloading it to your local, right? Under documents folder, right? So to view the results, again, you need these listeners, right? Aggregate report or view results tree and all that, right? So you have everything what you need now. So our next step is to run the script, right? Let's run and see. So it is successful. You're seeing 200, okay. And how long it took? It took 3.8 seconds time, response time to download, right? So this is the request details and all. You're not getting anything in response, fine. But this is what you need. Okay. Let us go and check if it is downloaded successfully or not. You're downloading under documents, right? Go there. Here is where you can see with the timestamp 9:15, right? If you want to upload something, add one more request, FTP request, and this is for upload. And things remains the same, right? I'll copy the same request and paste probably. This is for upload. So you need to give put and what you are uploading. For example, I want to upload the same thing, same archive.csv, but I want to upload this under this path. Okay. Under this home directory, right? You don't see archive_csv.zip here, right? So remove this. So you are uploading the file from your local to your server, right? Let us run. Maybe. Yeah. The first one is download. It downloaded again. The second one is for upload. It uploaded again. Let's check both. So it downloaded successfully and again see the timestamp. It changed. So it downloaded again. Right? It will override. Timestamp changed. So it downloaded again. Let's see whether it is uploaded or not. So maybe we'll refresh it once. Better. Put. No. This is previous file, kada. Let us try to upload it under input only. No, it didn't connected, I think. Yeah. This is the file, right? We are uploading. Yeah. It has uploaded successfully, right? Under input, you can see this file. Previously, I removed it. So it is uploaded. You can see the timestamp 9:18. So this is how you need to do the uploads and downloads, all that. And again, if you go to the aggregate report, you can see the response time of all these things like this. And you just need to, maybe you have to give, you can rename this as one as download and another one as upload. So that you can take both it will give both the response times. Not sure why the download part is failing. Yeah, maybe I have deleted this, right? So that is why it is failing, right? Let's run now. Input. I think it downloaded. See the timestamp. Not sure why this is giving error now. Maybe I'm using the same path for upload and download. That is the reason. Okay. Yeah, downloaded, right? Upload. Yeah. So you have different response times for upload and download and all that you can calculate. So if you have this kind of FTP servers, that also you can do using Jmeter. And what you get as a requirement, these uploads and downloads only, but you will have to you might need to log in with different users, or you might need to do different downloads and different uploads. They'll give some duration like 1 hour or something. You need to take from the server stats, or you need to ask your customer how many uploads and how many downloads are happening in 1 hour. Generally in FTP server, many users won't be there. So user load and all will be less. So you can happily run this FTP test using your GA mode only directly. Okay. So these things also we can replicate. And here in FTP, for FTP, you have one more option here called if you go to config elements, you have FTP request defaults, right? So it is just like HTTP request defaults, right? So you can actually define all the server name, remote file, local file path, and all that here, so that you don't need to give it in the actual request, right? So that also you can do. You just need to give your user ID and password. That's it. Okay. Yes. The same server might have different user IDs and passwords because there will be different customers for this FTP server, right? So
any users request
no, FTP requests are for different types of requests for upload, download, and all that.
Yeah.
User IDs and all that you can replicate here with CSV dataset config, right?
Okay.
You can change this user ID and give dollar and all that, enabled CSV dataset config, and from that parameter file, it will take user IDs. And you can run this FTP load test with FTP test with load, like 50 users, 15 users, 20 users, 50 users, 100 users, and all that.
So in this case, the password can't be parameterized, is it? Because it's
Okay. Let us try this. I am not sure if it will take the password or not.
just a general question. I mean, maybe
Correct.
not so important. Yeah, probably we can do that later.
Yeah, we can do that later. I never tested this, but we can test this, no problem.
Okay.
Let me try this tonight and I'll check that. Okay. Don't worry. So this is all about FTP request, and there is one more request called JDBC request. Right? FTP request is to test FTP server, JDBC request is to test your database, right? So this, I don't know how important FTP requests and all is. Rarely that kind of projects will come, but trust me, JDBC requests are very important. Okay. This will not come as a separate project and all that. You don't need to do. Generally, they'll not ask you to test database with load. But where this JDBC request importance will come into picture is while you are creating test data, right? You will have to create usernames, accounts. Sometimes your user IDs will get expired. That time you need to reset your username, user IDs, your passwords and all that. For everything you have database queries. Every time you cannot ask your database team to reset the user IDs, reset the passwords, right? For example, if you need to reset 50 or 70 user IDs, they cannot do that because they have to do all that. They have to create a query for that and all that. They cannot do that, right? They don't have a load test tool like this. Then these type of requests will come into picture. They'll become handy. You can give the reset queries here directly. Okay. And see, you have different statements here. For reset, generally, you have to select update statement, right? Because you are resetting the password, right? And you have select statements, right? And after every update statement or after every create statement, what you need to do, you need to commit in database. Otherwise, it will not get reflected, right? So you have this something called in JDBC request, you have something called JDBC connection configuration. This is also very important. Like you cannot directly use JDBC request directly, like how you used FTP request. FTP request you can use directly. You don't need to configure anything before. But for JDBC request, you need JDBC connection configuration first, right? Here, what you will do in JDBC connection configuration is you need to connect to the database, right? In FTP request, you have directly this option to connect to the FTP server, username and password. But whereas in JDBC request, you have to use this JDBC connection configuration. And here is where you need to give your database details, like the database URL, database driver class, which type of database it is. If it is an MySQL, Postgres, Oracle database. So it depends on your type of database. You need to select the driver class, right? If it's an Oracle database, you need to select Oracle driver class, right? And in order to connect to your database, you need to have username and password. Those things also you need to collect. And here you need to give database URL, right? So database URL will be something like this. I'll show you the screenshot of it. Able to see this? So see here, what you are giving in this, you are giving your database URL. And how I gave, if it's a MySQL database, JDBC : MySQL, and your, instead of localhost, you have to give your database details, database server name, database port, and all that, right? So your database URL should be in this format, right? But how do you get this format? From internet, right? JDBC, or okay, database URL format for Oracle DB, for example. See, you will get it directly from the server. See, if it's an Oracle server, JDBC Oracle thin @ hostname, port, and SID, service ID. So this is an Oracle. If you have Oracle database, you have to give, this remains the same. You don't need to change anything here, right? But here you need to give your database IP address or host name, whatever it is, right? And your database port name. How do you get these details, these three details? You need to ask your database administrator. They'll have this, they'll give you. Okay. And to connect to your database, you need to have user ID like this and password, right? And driver class, you know how to select that. You need to select that driver class, right? So these things you need to do first before running any JDBC request, right? And you have an option here, see, auto commit true or false. So this will be by default true. That means whenever you are doing any kind of update or create statements here, it will commit automatically. If you have any kind of update statement, for example, you are resetting password. So after that, you need to commit in your actual database, right? You need to commit. So this will commit automatically. You don't need to separately commit, because here the auto commit option is true. So you just need to fire the request. That's it. So that your password will get reset automatically, right? I don't have any database client or database server right now, so I cannot show this practically. What
For this requirement is now good.
What is this?
SQL class is just data.
Yeah, username and password is there. Database name is there. Server name. This is SQL, right? So if it is MySQL, this is the one, right? Okay. So in the place of in the place of this localhost, what you need to give? Server name here, right? What is the server name? SQL 8004.site4now.net, right? Okay. It works on 3306 port. This remains the same. Don't worry about this. But if your data, if in your company, if your database team is using a different port, that port you need to go. But this is a default for any MySQL server. So you can take this, and this is the database name you can give here. DB underscore these things, right? DB underscore whatever is there here, right? So everything you need to copy, and where you need to paste in JDBC connection configuration here. And what you need to select here, MySQL JDBC driver. Okay. And username and password are there, right? You need to give here, and that's it. And give some sample select query and check if it is working or not. If it is not working, then the problem can be with this JDBC driver class. It will clearly show the driver in the error message that there is a problem with driver class, something related to driver class kind of errors will come. Then what you need to do, go to internet and download the driver class which your database is supporting. How do you know which driver class your database is supporting? Again, you need to contact your database team. And you need to ask them, they have driver class. They will give you directly that particular file. That particular file they'll give you directly. And that file, you need to put it in your, where you need to put? In the Jmeter. That particular file contains the same thing. You will have like how we downloaded our plugins. It will be something related to same. So based on that, you will come to know where you need to copy those files. So if I'm not wrong, you have to copy in library or I think library only. Okay, you have to copy those in library only. See here under library ext, you need to copy. See here you have all the JDBC jar files, right? For Mongo database and all that. So here is where you need to copy those driver class related jar files and restart your Jmeter, then it will work. So for us, it's Oracle database. It did not work straight away. Though I selected Oracle JDBC driver class here and I gave right URL here. Okay. This URL, right? The same kind of URL I gave. Okay. I gave the right user ID, right password, but still it is not working because the driver class is not supporting the existing database version. Like, so that will be there, that will come into picture. So or not all the default driver classes which Jmeter is having, that might not support your current database version. Then you need to take the driver class which it is supporting. How you will get? You can download from the server directly. I downloaded from the server directly. I just Googled it and downloaded the driver class directly. So you need to ask your database team which driver class version it is supporting. You have to download that and put it in the library ext and restart your Jmeter, and then it will work. Okay. To show this practically, I will get my, Ravi, if you have some time this week or next week,
Okay,
come to the institute so that I will open my office laptop and I'll show you from my client machine directly how we are using the database samplers, how we are connecting to the database.
Sure.
And how we are resetting the passwords, how we are not only reset passwords, right? So we are testing, we are doing performance test for 10 countries, right? For each country, we need to pick 500 to 300, 400 users, right? Every release these users, because our environment, our NFT environment is used by functional testing team also. What they'll do some manual testing, and in that process, these passwords will get expired if they type the wrong password continuously 3 times or something, right? So every release we will end up in getting the right user IDs from the database. How do you get it? By creating some automation script like this using JDBC request. So that particular script, how we are getting the right users from the database, how we are resetting the passwords by using the queries, database queries, how we are automating that. I'll show you that script. That is one thing which I'll show you.
Okay, sir.
Practical.
Generally we put the individual SQL statements, or we write that in a PL SQL code and then do it all together.
Individual, we can do that as well, but I am giving individual
Okay.
SQL statement,
Okay.
individual queries itself, right?
Okay.
That is one thing which I'll show.
Sure.
And also how we are doing load tests for all 10 countries. How I have created the script and all that also I'll show. So if everyone are there in the class, that time just intimate me a day before so that I'll bring my laptop. I have my laptop right now, but I'll show you one day. Now I cannot show, so I'll show you one. Yeah. So you will get that practical, how things will happen practically in real time. That exposure also you'll get to know. Okay. So this is all about JDBC connection configuration. You need to give all the database details here, and here you need to give the queries, right? And whenever you are giving these update statements and all that, don't forget to give think time, right? You need to give think time for between every update statement. There should be some wait time. You cannot continuously put load on database without giving any pause times and all that, right? Your database might crash. So make sure you give think time in between each and every JDBC request, especially for update statements, right? Select statements, no problem, right? But update statements, you need to, while you're dealing with update statements using Jmeter, you need to be really careful. That might crash or corrupt your database also. Okay, make sure you give proper queries, proper update queries. You can play around with select statements. Nothing will happen to your database, but don't play with your update statements, right? While you are doing update queries, give it properly. And only see, we do load tests also using JDBC request, but do this load test only with select statements. Okay, don't do load test, don't do your database load test by using update statements and all that, right? Okay. Collect read-only queries. What are read-only queries? All these select statements are read-only queries, right? Collect all these queries. There will be some business critical queries which are taking time. Okay. So just take our performance testing practice website only. So if some menu items are taking time, okay, in our website. So you logged in and you are clicking on some menu items and all that, right? So for example, register is one menu item, like login is one menu, admin login is one menu item, download is one menu item. So there will be some menu items like that in your application also, in any banking application also. So each and every menu item might go to the database also, right? If you want to check those database queries, that will be select statements only. So those select statements also you can collect and put some load on that and check directly in the database level. You can check the performance of the database like that. But make sure you check the performance only for select statements, not for update. Okay. So this is shortly about the JDBC request. This is how you need to do the database load test. But how we perform database load test, how we reset the queries and all that, I'll show you from my client laptop once everyone are in the class this week or next week. Yeah. So as I said, there are many other samplers, but these samplers are most important. And you have debug sampler, you know what we'll get from debug sampler, right? Right? If you select debug sampler, whatever variables you are passing, correlation parameters, all that, it will get displayed in the debug sampler in view results tree, right? And bean shell sampler in what scenarios we'll use bean shell sampler and JSR 223 sampler and all that, I'll explain, right? Remaining things are not that important. So these are the important things, but bean shell and JSR 223 I'll cover at the end while I'm covering bean shell topic. That's a different topic altogether. So you have this bean shell as a separate sampler. Bean shell sampler is applied sampler. And if you go to the preprocessor, you will find bean shell preprocessor. If you go to post processor, you will find bean shell post processor. Assertions, bean shell assertions, right? So you will see this bean shell related things in each and every element. So how these bean shells are useful and all that, I'll cover as a different topic. Don't worry. So tomorrow we can cover pre and post processors. Mostly pre and pre processors you will use for this regular expressions also, right? We have already covered that. The boundary extractor and all that are simple. Generally make sure you use regular expression extractor only. Okay. Not much to cover this in this post processor actually, except for bean shell, which I'll anyway cover as a different topic. But I'll see if I can cover this bean shell as a topic tomorrow or not. Otherwise, I'll go to the advanced Jmeter topic. Okay, I'll see if I'll cover this bean shell topic tomorrow. Otherwise, I'll cover at the end of all sessions, right? So this is all about your Jmeter elements, but this Jmeter elements has an execution order. All these Jmeter elements will follow some execution order, which is very important, which is a separate interview question, right? Execution order in Jmeter. Yeah. So this is your execution order actually. This is your execution order. So while you are executing any load test, so this is what the Jmeter follow as a rule, right? First, config elements will get executed. What are config elements? Your CSV dataset configs, your cookie manager, cache manager, the same thing, right? Without having this, how can it execute the actual samplers, right? First of all, to make sure if you define the proper CSV path and all or not, okay? And it will check if you have the proper user defined variables are defined properly or not. Cache manager, cookie manager, all that it will execute first. And after that, pre-process will execute. After that, timers. Only after timers, samplers will execute, right? That is why while you are running the load test, if you define any think time, it will execute think time first. That is why before executing sampler, it will execute think time. That is why it will wait for 3 seconds and only after that it will execute launch. Don't think that launch will execute first and after the timer will be there. No. First of all, it will pause for 3 seconds. Only after that, it will execute launch. Again, it will pause for 3 seconds. After that, it will execute login. It will be like that. So timers will be the first priority. Only after that, samplers will come. And after that, post processors, right? Where we are giving the correlations. Under sampler, we are giving correlation, right? How can we capture correlation if this before sampler, right? Sampler should execute first. Only inside the sampler only we are giving correlation, right? Here where we are giving correlation, at login we are giving correlation. Like we are capturing session ID and CSRF. Okay. If this session ID and CSRF is executing first, then it cannot capture this left and right boundaries, right? Where these left and right boundaries are coming? In this login sampler. So it should execute first. Only after that, it can capture this session IDs and CSRF. So that is why sampler should execute first. Only after that, post processor will come into picture. And after that, assertions, right? Again, assertions, what we are doing at assertions, text checks, duration assertion, response assertion, all that we are giving. So your sampler should execute first. After that only, you will come to know how much response time it is taking so that you can give duration session. After that only you'll come to know if your login is successful or not. That is why you are giving sessions, right? So again, the priority will be like this: sampler, post processor, after that session. And finally, the last thing is listeners. So listener is all about getting the responses, right? Final reports. So this will be the last in your execution order. So this is the logic behind the execution order, but try to remember this, right? So you will get this as an interview question for sure, right? Config elements, preprocessor, timer, sampler, post processor, assertions, and lists, right? This is your execution order of your test elements. Okay. Tomorrow I'll quickly cover this pre and post processor, except bean shell, because I'll cover it as a different topic. And tomorrow I'll be completing all the required elements for you in Jmeter, and we'll enter into the advanced Jmeter topics: how to run your tests in non-GA mode, what is distribution testing, how do you do distribution testing using Jmeter, how do you monitor your servers using Jmeter, how to configure Grafana and Influx database and using Jmeter, and all that we'll cover from tomorrow. So those are advanced Jmeter topics. So these are the actual Jmeter topics which we are almost done. Tomorrow onwards we can start the advanced Jmeter topics, right? Ask me if you have any queries, or else we'll connect tomorrow. Ravi?
No questions, sir. Thanks.
Okay, fine then. We'll meet tomorrow.